Max Verstappen continues to, I don't know, is he forcing the McLaren brothers into mistakes, which is,
There
again,
seems like
this is why we said a few months ago, it would have been nice if he was a little bit closer so we could have seen how they'd handle these types of situations. And he's really far away and they're not handling it very well.
Yeah, it sure seems like it. This was a golden weekend for Max Verstappen at the United States Grand Prix down in Circuit of the Americas. Started on Saturday with the sprint weekend. It's the weekend where he can get extra points too, and it started off in the most amazing fashion for him, with both McLaren drivers taking one another out in turn one in the sprint race. And sure, it wasn't their fault, but they were so close together. Everybody's so close together. It just bad luck that they ended up taking one another out as contact happened throughout there, and that left Verstappen with virtually no competition through the rest of the sprint race, and then went on to win the pole, lead every single lap in the Grand Prix on Sunday. The commentary afterward from McLaren on Sunday, Saturday was about bad luck, but then Sunday it was more about Lando Norris and his ability to get past Charles Leclerc. They think that because Leclerc got in front of him early on, it kind of ruined his race and he wasn't able to maintain pace and keep within touching distance of Verstappen. And I think that's true. If you look at the lap times throughout the race, I think Norris was comparable to Verstappen, so if they were closer together, perhaps it would have been more of a battle, but Norris got stuck behind the Ferrari of Leclerc, which left Verstappen free and clear to be able to go ahead and win that race, second of the weekend, and third race win in 4 races. So he is definitely closing the gap, and if you look now with 5 races left, 2 more sprint races, the lead from Piastri down to Verstappen is only 40 points at this point.
Okay. While you were saying this, I was taking a look at the odds. And I don't know if you might have noticed my face and my reaction to it.
I noticed you're looking at something.
Yes. I don't think you're going to believe this. That's the championship odds.
Really? Wow.
All right, what's going on here? Because they screwed us up last year.
Yeah.
It seems like they're doing it again. I mean, the favorite right now, he's favored to win the championship.
I think we're on the cusp of crossover to say that he's going to be a threat for the championship, with them crashing each other out and him picking up almost 10 points. He picked up 8 points on them on Saturday, and then he gained another 15 points on Sunday. So in total, he clawed back 20 some points. So now he's 5 races left, 2 more race weekends, he might be able to do that. So it's well within striking distance at this point. It wasn't like before where we were talking about him needing DNFs to happen to McLaren.
We said, you had mentioned he needs to have 2 mistakes from each driver, exactly, and he's going to pretty much win everything else almost. And he had exactly all that happen in one weekend. Exactly. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen again, especially the mistakes. I mean, that's just real. If that happens again to these 2 bozos, then that's the biggest choke job we've ever seen. But asking them to do that again is almost, they didn't hit another driver. They hit each other, which is
that's exactly
mind-blowing.
Exactly what I was going to say. So yes, he's within striking distance now. And yes, very much still a threat to win races. I still think Piastri and Norris are more likely than not on any given weekend to finish on the podium. And he's just not clawing back enough points in that time period. So 7 points would be the difference between first and second. Call it Piastri. Say Piastri, who's got 40 points.
So there are 5 races left.
5 races left.
How many sprint?
2.
Okay. How many? All right. So how did the points break up now?
So you get 25 points for a win.
Okay.
18 for a second.
Okay.
15 for third.
Okay.
12 for fourth, and then so on down.
So, okay. And the sprint?
Sprint is 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So 5 races. So let's just say Max wins. Let's just go ahead and give him all the races.
35 points.
What's that?
That's 35-point advantage over, call it Piastri if he finishes second.
Well, let's just start with, okay, let's say Max. So Max got, how much is Max behind right now?
40.
40. Okay. So he's minus 40. So if he wins 5 of them, so he's at 125. And then he's got 2 sprint. That would be 16. That's 100. That's 141 points.
Yep.
Okay. That means he's up now 101 points.
Yep.
Okay. And now that's to who? That's to
Piastri.
Piastri. Okay. How far is he behind Norris?
26.
Okay. So let's just stick with Piastri for now. All right. So let's say, all right. So Piastri has to gobble up 102 points in those 5. All right. So let's say he does finish second. Let's just say that the average is, what does that come out to? 18 times 5 is 90.
Yep.
And let's give him second in the sprint plus 14. That's 104.
Yep.
So if he finishes in second in all 5 of those races and second in the 2 sprint, he wins the championship.
Correct.
With Max Verstappen winning all of the races.
Correct. And it's likely, highly likely, that Piastri is going to be second or third, even if Verstappen wins all the rest of the races. So again, I think it's getting close, but from a 40-point lead with 5 races left, that's still quite a big margin for Verstappen to overcome. And just because, just look at the last 4 races where the car has been significantly better and we've been back to the old Max Verstappen. He only won 3 of the 4. I say only, but he dropped 1. And that's going to be the difference. He can afford 0 mistakes for the rest of the year, whereas McLaren still has a couple mistakes left in the bag. They just can't have a mistake big enough to DNF again.
Now, what about these 5 tracks?
So the 5 tracks.
Who do they favor? That kind of thing.
Yeah, Mexico City and Las Vegas. The 2 are 2 of the 5 that are left. Those are both high-speed, kind of low downforce tracks where Red Bull has been quite strong. So I do think that Max Verstappen this week at Mexico stands a very good chance of winning. I do think that McLaren will be much closer than they were in Circuit of the Americas, though. The other tracks we go to are Qatar, Abu Dhabi, and Brazil, all of which are pretty comparable, I would say, to Circuit of the Americas. They're natural terrain road courses. They've got more medium and high speed corners, not as long and fast straights. They're a little bit more medium to high downforce tracks, where I think the McLaren is much better probably in comparison than the Red Bull at the low downforce tracks. And to prove that, all you have to do is look at or re-listen to what I said right at the beginning about Circuit of the Americas, where Norris was doing equivalent lap times as Verstappen. Really, the only thing that held him back from challenging him was getting stuck behind the Ferrari of Leclerc, who was slower. So again, I think the margin is still very tight over the last 5 races. There are at least 3 tracks that I think McLaren probably is preferred, if not even, and only 2 where Red Bull is actually preferred.
What do you think about Norris? And what do you think about now? Has the mindset changed for McLaren? And we all understand it's a lot different. By the way, what time do you have to leave?
I'm good.
Okay. So what's the situation with what they're thinking? Because now do you think they've completely changed? Like they were, all right, let's let these guys, duke it out. And do you think they've changed their mindset now? And now they're like, look, we're all got to be behind Piastri, or they've already won the title, the manufacturer's title, correct?
Yeah, they have.
that's a big deal. So are they still kind of just, all right, let's whoever wins wins?
I think they are still whoever wins wins. That may change with a Verstappen win again this week and maybe some more trouble. Maybe then they start putting, weight behind one of the two drivers. But I would argue right now that Norris is the one that's coming on stronger lately. Piastri was the one that had struggles in Circuit of the Americas. It was Norris that was able to qualify better and able to race better. So he's been closing the gap to Piastri. It's been Piastri that's been losing ground. So if you're McLaren, who do you choose? Do you choose Piastri because he's ahead right now when Verstappen's coming on strong, or do you put your chips behind Norris, who's picking up the momentum and doing better at the moment? So it's a tough call for them. So I think they give it another couple of races, but I think once Verstappen gets within touching distance where he truly is a threat, and mathematically it's not as big of a stretch as we just went through, I do think they start shifting more toward whoever is in line. But certainly for this weekend and maybe even the weekend next when they go to, they come back to Las Vegas, I think, or do they go down to Brazil perhaps? But I think they wait, so they go to Brazil. So I think they might wait 2 more races to see how close Verstappen gets and see if Piastri keeps losing ground, whereas Norris keeps making up ground, and then maybe then they make the call to go with one or the other. But for now, I think it's going to continue to be, race. Whoever qualifies better, whoever gets to turn 1 first in front, it's your race to then lose at that point.
What's the general consensus as far as the community, the F1 community? Are they flipping out too on Verstappen, or are they more sensible like you?
There's a portion of both. So I think from a commercial aspect, they want Verstappen to make it more exciting because they'll have more eyes tuning in. But I think realistically, the math, like we talked about all toward the end of last year when Verstappen, it was just mathematically infeasible that anybody was going to catch him. I think that's where the people who know Formula One still are. Again, I think 2 races from now, 3 races from now, that can change if McLaren has a problem. But again, if Red Bull just need one mistake and then it's over. Verstappen needs one mistake to happen and then it's done. There's no coming back from that. So he is on a razor's edge at this point, whereas McLaren still have breathing room and math on their side.
The problem is in trying to figure out how to maximize this financially is because of these 2 guys are teammates and the odds are so close. There's nothing definitive there like it was, say, last year. We haven't gotten to that point yet.
Correct.
Like if Piastri went out and won and Norris had a bad day, and Piastri all of a sudden now has a 40-point lead or a 35-point lead on Norris, it's pretty safe to assume now Piastri is the winner out of the 2.
Agreed. If you go to the futures by manufacturer, though, I bet you the McLaren odds are better than we've seen from the past couple of weeks. So that might be your way to make money.
Okay, so this is the constructor's title.
Well, that's odd because it's already done. There should be a car of drivers champion, and that's probably mislabeled. That's probably it. It's probably
I could probably see. It's probably here.
Yeah, under futures. There you go. I know that's a good way. Okay, so unless that comes back out later this week, it's really tough between the 2 to choose between the 2 McLarens for champion. I do think it's going to be it's got to be mislabeled. It's got to be that team props because they still have it out there. It's already decided. Why was
I don't know why that's still out there. Yeah.
Oh, that's 26. I'm sorry. Yeah,
what's that?
That's already 26.
Oh, is this what this is saying?
Yeah, if you click back on the team props, that said 2026 when you scrolled by.
I mean, really, is it that necessary for us to have 2026 odds already?
We can't even tell who's going to win 25 yet.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Let's see.
From a money standpoint on the futures, I don't know. I'd probably still direct you toward Piastri. I think it's harder. It's easier to maintain than it is to come from behind. And an 8-point lead for Piastri. Yes, that's very small. It's definitely achievable and takes some consistent beating by Norris for him to get ahead. But that's a race that's in it. So Piastri basically has a race that's in hand before they're even. I think that's probably easier to defend. And again, I think the McLarens, when we get to some of the other tracks, are going to be a little bit more competitive. So I can see Piastri finishing second or third pretty consistently, and Norris, maybe he comes back. But yeah, tough call. But I'd probably just, from a gut feel perspective, go with Norris. I'm sorry, Piastri.
Trying to figure even this out. This is my sports book. Trying to figure out what all this means here. So they've got 2025 constructors head-to-head season match, Ferrari Mercedes, Ferrari Red Bull, and Red Bull Mercedes. So, is this what you're talking about?
No.
Because what is this?
This would be whoever finishes higher in the Constructors' Championship. So Mercedes versus Ferrari is still tight. Ferrari versus Red Bull is still tight. McLaren have won it overall, but just...
Oh, that's right. I'm looking at Mercedes, not McLaren.
Yeah,
okay.
More of a matchup.
Yeah, that's not it. Okay.
Last week and the weeks prior, for the futures, you could choose the winning, the Drivers' Championship car. And McLaren was like negative 300, if I remember correctly, but it might be suspended now or might be coming up later in the week. They release it, but that would probably be the one to take. If you can get odds on for Drivers' Championship, the driver coming from McLaren, that would be the bet I would take, even if it's negative at this point, because I think that's what it's ultimately going to be.
I mean, let's see. So this is if they just matched up the drivers, Max with either of the other drivers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, this makes sense based on what we're seeing here, but I'm not sure. Why would I do that when I can just go ahead and get a little bit better odds? That's the only good thing about figuring out the right time to take Piastri or Norris, because now they're in the, they're almost 2-1.
Yep.
I mean, it would be nice. It would be nice if we could just take Piastri, because he has a 40-point lead and a 26-point lead, and you're getting almost 2-1. But unfortunately, he's not driving. He's the third of the three right now, the way that they've been driving, and that's not what you want to see.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And if he goes out there and wins this race this week, then all of a sudden his odds go back to being in the minus. And I'd be interested to see what would happen for the odds in general after one race, because I don't trust these odds that if Piastri were to win this week and Max finished second, that they would change the odds dramatically. Like, they would change them, but I just wonder if you just patient another week and see if Piastri wins, you might still get decent enough odds.
I agree with that. I think the way to go, if you're placing bets this weekend, Mexico is a low downforce track, which has been very good for Red Bull. Max Verstappen is on a charge, coming to a track that's good for Red Bull. He's won at it 3 times. So I think Verstappen for the win, that's the bet that you want to place this weekend. From a future standpoint on the Drivers' Championship, I think you need to sit tight and wait at least another week to see what the odds do after whoever wins this weekend.
Yeah, interesting that now we're in a situation where the winning car is even between 2 drivers and 1.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I'd go for Verstappen for the win straight out.
Isn't that crazy? Taking 1 driver over the 2 drivers that are supposed to be just as good as you at this point in time. But there it is. He's 120 to their 235 and 330. So you agree with this? You would go and take Verstappen this week for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth hedging this week. It's a low downforce track. Verstappen's on a tear. I think it's his to lose. Not to say that Norris or Piastri can't win. In fact, I kind of hope they do, because then that would reopen the odds for the championship. We might be able to make some money there. I think the only bet worth placing this week is Verstappen.
Well, I think that's an interesting hedge in itself, because by taking Verstappen and you think you're pretty confident he's going to win, even money's good then. And if he wins, okay, fine. You won your bet. But if he loses and say, like we said, Piastri wins, then we still might be able to benefit from that by taking Piastri to win the championship.
Exactly right. Yep. Completely agree with you.
All right. So I think that's the way to go. That's what we'll go so far this week. Again, I don't know how many people wager on this stuff, but I know they probably do a lot more overseas. Not that we get a ton of overseas viewers, but the next race that we're going to talk about will be in Brazil, correct?
Correct. We'll have a week off. Then we go to Brazil, another week off, then Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi, all back to back to finish it out.
Wow. Back to back to back. Okay, cool. All right. So there you go. And you'll have your F1 report from RotoWire also on Friday.
That is correct. We'll have the link for you here, and we will revisit with current odds, best picks in that article as well. So if you want an update based on what we're talking about, if you are watching it on delay or live, you can always check the link in the description of the video.
Excellent. CJ, appreciate it. We'll talk to you 3:30 Eastern next Tuesday when we know the final four for the NASCAR championship. And you know what's going to be interesting? If Logano and Blaney do not get in, that's going to be completely wide open if you really think about it.
Absolutely.
Because if one of them get in, they're going to be the favorite.
Yes.
We all know that. If they both get in, which isn't going to happen, but let's just say if they did both get in for whatever reason, they would be the first and second choices. So that's the point, is without them in it, just speaking NASCAR, of course, that can make things very interesting, because I think it'll be completely wide open. Nobody will really know what'll happen. And we'll talk about, that's why it's going to be a lot of fun next week. Don't forget to check us out. And again, I'll be back on Saturday night after practice and qualifying, and look out for Kevin's report early on Saturday. And then for everything else we do here, majority of it football, with the exception of our horse racing coverage, which is on Thursdays. We'll be back on Thursday. One more week. Next week is the Breeders' Cup week. That is a major week in thoroughbred horse racing. We will be here with double shows, 2 shows, a bonus show, because there's too many races to cram into one. But everything else is NFL and college football here at Proline TV. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. That's how you support the channel. You can also hit the thanks icon. And actually, you could do that during the live show. Just want to remind everybody, you can't do that elsewhere. It's got to be on the live show, in the super chat, and that's the best way that you can ask a question and donate to the channel. So, CJ, we'll do this again next week.
Looking forward to it. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the races.